Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're looking at Voracia on the Pioneer server because we need to talk about, is she going to be important to recruit or is she a hero that you'll be able to skip? So keep in mind the content is subject to change by official release. This is the testing server. However, I've done some PvP testing. I do feel pretty confident. I've also talked to other players who have tested her more extensively. And I think the overall opinion is that unfortunately Voracia is not quite good enough for a PvP and is very kind of like specific requirements need to happen. For example, exact timing of when she gets off her ultimate, when she gets off her Devour, because as you guys know, the Devour is going to target enemies who have dealt the highest amount of damage, but at different points in the fight, different enemies who may be priority targets may have not actually been the cumulative highest damage dealer, and so you kind of need to have that perfect timing, but also not have it too late that the enemy can actually get off their ultimate before you can devour them. So that it's a very kind of delicate balance, and that obviously is a problem in itself when it comes to PvP. But the other question is, even if she gets off her perfect ideal combo, is it really enough? And into some matches it is, but into some teams like Gwyneth, like other heroes which are not as ultimate dependent, it just isn't enough, honestly. So we'll go through her skills now. Her ultimate has a 600 pre-fill energy. We did see in the skill trailer, the ultimate can go off really quickly with like a Rowan or even a Theodore, or for example, and even if you don't have either of them, over time, in a few seconds, if she can normal attack, she is going to get off her ultimate. Now, the key mechanic for her skill is the fervor, and in order to devour an enemy, which is really this is the only skill which is interesting, honestly, in her entire kit, but it is quite interesting, and that's why we didn't know, is it actually going to be impactful enough? So this is a devour, and the devour will increase the basic stats by 40%. 40% of the enemy's stats, right? Absorb per devour to 40%. If you take a look of that enemy's basic stats, and it can go up to 60% of Voracia stats, which probably will not reach that cap. So you're going to get a good amount of stats from the enemy, debuffing them and buffing yourself. Okay. But more importantly, you're going to deny them energy. They're going to be able to not cast an ultimate for the rest of the battle. They're basically perma-muted, perma-blocked from casting ultimate. This is what this additional, the energy is not going to... if we take a look here, the energy will be permanently lost, right? But in boss battles, obviously that doesn't matter. So now the thing is, against enemy Sulfura, this is the one thing where she again has the most potential value, and it's so funny because Orion and Voracia, they're both kind of that niche category of PvP carries. Orion is obviously more usable compared to Voracia as of right now, but they both have potential to counter enemy Sulfura. For whatever reason, these latest two S levels both have a potential way of countering enemy Sulfura, because when you see an enemy Sulfura team, you guys will notice that it usually Sulfura is the only carry on the team. Everyone else is protecting, support, accessory heroes. But if your Voracia is able to energy block that Sulfura before the Sulfura can cast ultimate, it's game winning, as I will show you in the PvP replays. But again, it needs a specific timing, because if you're too fast, you won't even trigger it onto the Sulfura, it'll trigger on someone else. And if you're too slow, the Sulfura will get off the ultimate. And so that's a very delicate balance, and honestly, it's a little bit too crazy to plan for that. And if it's only Sulfura that she's having a good favorable matchup against, also that's a problem too, right? Okay, so that is a make or break skill that you guys see here, but in order to trigger the Devour, you first need to activate Fervor on all three of your skills, including the ultimate, okay? And so the ultimate will have to cast and hit at least 3 enemies, your Prime Cut will have to cast and hit at least 3 enemies, because that is just going to be the default. Whenever a skill hits 3 enemies or more, or all surviving enemies, but usually that will be 3 enemies or more, and then it will enhance to fervor. So 3 enemies or more with this, 3 enemies or more with this. This is a 2-second initial cooldown. This is a 5-second initial cooldown. So this is the other problem. You are not going to be able to trigger her entire Devour. The earliest you can do it is 5 seconds into the battle. Right? Even if you can get your ult off early with the Rowan or Theodore, even if you can get your Vine, no, Inferno is going to be off in 2 seconds, so that's fine. But the Prime Cut will wait until 5 seconds before you can even cast this, and you need all 3 skills Fervor enhanced before the Devour goes off. So these other skills now, the only interesting thing about these skills is they begin dealing a lot of damage after she's devoured, because after she's devoured, her own basic stats have increased by like 80%, right? 40 plus 40. because plus 10 exclusive equipment, you get an additional enemy target here. It will not just be the one single enemy target. Now, but so you will have higher stats, you'll deal more damage, but still she has survival issues. Still, if the enemy has any form of damage, they will be able to kill her even after she has gotten off her devour. It's not like making her immortal or anything like that. And there will be max HP reduction as well onto enemies with the ultimate, but that again is more minor. So you guys get basically the summary of her kit, what she needs to do, and now I'm going to show you some replays against enemy Sulfura, because like I said, that's probably the favorite matchup. We did get a win, but what I had to do was I had to bring out Lily May, because I noticed the enemy Sulfura is ulting too quickly before I could even get my Devour off, because you have that 5-second initial cooldown on the Vine or Inferno. Or was it Prime Cut? It was one of them. But anyway, so then I needed Lily May to interrupt the Sulfura and then wait enough time so that we could actually get it off on Sulfura. You guys are going to see what happens here. So we just go for a Mauler just because I wanted to give unaffected to Voracia so she's not affected by Mahira. And, you know, Mauler gives unaffected. So you're going to see now Voracia is going to get off her ultimate. And she is now going to Devour because she is 5 seconds in the battle. The initial cooldown has passed for both of her skills. So she's going to cast her ultimate. She's going to now, I think, maybe right after this cast her other skill. And there we go. Devoured. So 6 seconds in the battle. This is like the earliest you can Devour the enemy. Which is, you know, is decent. You don't need actually an energy booster, as you guys can see here, because we didn't have an energy booster, but we did have her unaffected, which is important, so she can get normal attacking and get her energy recovery. But her energy recovery basically will be fast enough to get off the ultimate naturally around the time that her skill is also going to go off, the 5-second cooldown, and then 6 seconds in the battle, you get them. And now she's going to get this enemy Sulfura. So now it's really good news. Well, now Voracia is going to be tankier, and she's going to be hitting harder, and she's debuffed the enemies heavily. So now what ends up happening is, okay, Gunner goes down, but look at the massive health we now have on Voracia. Well, part of it is also Zandrock and Hepler, definitely, like, we buffed her up to, like, maximum tankiness, but you guys can see here, she does take some damage. She doesn't take damage that well. The enemy Sulfura is still hitting with all other forms of skills. It's just not the ultimate that the Sulfura is going to be able to cast. But then Voracia does end up just blowing it up in the end, okay? And her damage output honestly, her damage output is pretty crazy. When she gets fully stacked and double Devour off, her damage is pretty crazy. But do keep in mind, I also did have her ideal mythic charms, and the opponent doesn't have any charms, so that's also kind of unfair. But basically, the damage from her is good once she has fully set up, but she still has survival issues, as you guys saw. But now let me show you some other more unfortunate replays when we do not get the ideal Devour off. So if we go ahead and take a look at some of these. Now here what I did was I ran basically the same team but no Lily May. So you guys are going to see that the enemy Sulfura actually ultimates too quickly. And the enemy Sulfura doesn't have energy boosting or anything like that, but she's going to ultimate before we can actually Devour. Because you guys saw, we need to wait the full 5 seconds, and in fact, until the clock strikes 84 seconds, Sulfura's already jumping, ultimating, while Voracia is ultimating, and now, I mean, if you Devour, you can't even actually, I think, Devour, because Voracia is silenced now. The unaffected is probably worn off. I think she's silenced. Oh no, she can Devour. But I guess the thing is, it's too far gone, because the Sulfura ultimate is already running, taking the damage. And even though Sulfura is energy blocked and devoured, Voracia is still going to die. As you guys can see here, Voracia has major survival problems even after the Devour. It's not enough stats that she's gaining to actually, you know, be able to bruise her and tank the front line, because she is like a mage at the end of the day, which are very squishy to begin with. So there just shows you a perfect example that, like, unless you're running a Lily May or somehow blocking the Sulfura is actually going to beat you to the punch. That is a problem. And if we're facing like a Gwyneth, you guys are going to see that the same problem is going to be the Gwyneth doesn't care if you block her ultimate. Like, she's going to care for slightly reduced stats. But like, honestly speaking, the Gwyneth is still going to be nuking like crazy. And still going to nuke your Voracia. And so she's just not enough of a carry. This is a problem. And she's like not enough utility to be a pure utility hero, and not enough of a carry to be a pure damage dealer. So this is kind of the issue that we're finding ourselves in. Now, I don't know. Potentially there could be some balancing before global release. Potentially people are going to find some cool combos to run with her. But honestly, at this point, I have to say she's incredibly niche, and I would not recommend an investment into Voracia, especially with the collab right around the corner, which almost definitely has to be, in my opinion, it has to be somewhat more meta than this for PvP. Because when we look at all the collabs which we've had, they've all had at least one hero which has been actually pretty meta relevant at the time of the release for PvP. And so, yeah, I think Voracia, honestly, just not it. And yeah, and Orion is better. But even Orion, I'm feeling a little bit of that not quite it. So I'm I'm actually hoping that we do get another S level that potentially I could swap Orion into. But anyway, that's besides the point. Orion's still decent. I don't think he's bad. But like, I really am waiting for that next hyper carry, which I'm gonna be like 100%. This is my hyper carry. I'm signing off on this. Orion isn't quite that yet, and even Krynaya, these here at Marcel, they're not quite that. So like I'm making do with them, but like I'm not like, you know, they're not my like my Freerin, like my Gwyneth, like my Sylphira. Even though Sylphira has all these potential counters now, honestly, if Sylphira is just so dominant to so many matchups that even if they somehow get like a perfect combo off and counter, then I mean well played to them, because it's not like it's not going to be easy to kill a Sylphira team with most of your teams. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you all so much for watching. That's going to be it for this one. Let me know your thoughts about Voracia in the comment section down below. Are you still hyped for her, or do you have any other ideas that I failed to mention in this video? Let me know. Thank you guys all so much for watching. That is going to be it for this video. And if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Firelight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus Dragon Crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video and a pinned comment, and you can actually bookmark this link in your browser, and whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link and make your purchase. It will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.